Wrestling fam, welcome back to Wrestling Pro News, the raw pulse of professional wrestling where the lights, the noise, and the chaos of WWE are stripped down to their deepest truth, and tonight we are diving into a storyline that has not only captured the imagination of the fans but has also rewritten the very DNA of the company itself, because what went down on the August 15, 2025 edition of SmackDown in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania wasn't just another main event, it was the birth of a rebellion, a redefinition of family, and the opening salvo of a war that threatens to engulf Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and the entire Anoa'i legacy in a firestorm of betrayal, pride, and generational warfare. For months, the cracks have been forming inside the Bloodline saga, but nobody could have predicted the violent and shocking way in which those cracks would split open before the world's eyes, when Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu, and Sami Zayn came together not as rivals but as allies, not as enemies but as brothers in arms, standing shoulder to shoulder under the banner of the new Bloodline and declaring war on Solo Sikoa's My Family Tree faction, better known as MFD, and by extension, challenging the very authority of Roman Reigns himself. The Wells Fargo Center that night was electric, buzzing with anticipation as the six-man tag team main event began, pitting Jimmy, Jacob, and Sami against Solo, Tanga Loa, and JC Mateo, and what unfolded was not simply a wrestling match but a symbolic battle for power and identity, a clash of tradition versus rebellion, and every strike, every slam, every counter felt like it carried the weight of generations of Anoa'i warriors. Jimmy Uso's defiance, Jacob Fatu's raw power, and Sami Zayn's technical brilliance formed a chemistry that nobody expected but everyone felt in their bones is something historic, and when Zayn connected with the Helluva kick on Solo and scored the clean pinfall, the eruption from the Philadelphia crowd wasn't just cheers, it was a war cry, it was the birth of something bigger than any faction had dared to attempt in years. As the new trio stood tall in the ring, Jimmy grabbed the mic and declared boldly, "This is our bloodline now," words that cut through the entire WWE universe like a knife and set off shockwaves across social media, across locker rooms, and across the mind of the tribal chief himself. Roman Reigns was absent that night, but absence didn't mean silence, because hours later, in a move that felt both ominous and calculated, Reigns broke his silence with a cryptic Instagram video filmed in a dark, dimly lit room where shadows consumed everything but his face, and with a voice low, steady, and filled with menace, he addressed Jimmy, Jacob, and Sami directly, telling them they had forgotten who runs this family, that Jacob had made a mistake following Zayn, that Sami was never truly part of the bloodline, and that at Clash in Paris they would all acknowledge him or be destroyed. That video went viral in minutes, exploding across X with trending posts like, "Roman's furious, new bloodline era," and "Family war incoming," and within hours it had crossed over 3 million views, sparking debates, predictions, and wild theories about how this story would unfold. But make no mistake, this isn't just a storyline, this is a family implosion turned into global entertainment, and every single character in this saga carries the scars of betrayal and the hunger for dominance. Jimmy Uso, once the loyal cousin, now the rebellious son of the dynasty, forever marked by Solo's betrayal at Money in the Bank 2023, has transformed from a supporting act into a defiant leader, standing tall against both Solo and Roman in a way that few thought he ever would. Jacob Fatu, the wild card with a pedigree that traces back to the very heart of the Anoa'i Empire, betrayed by Tomatanga and cast aside by MFD, now finds himself elevated on the biggest stage as a powerhouse ready to carve his name into WWE history. And Sami Zayn, the eternal outsider, the honorary use who once basked in the brotherhood of the bloodline before being discarded, has clawed his way back into the story not as a victim but as a central figure, earning legitimacy by pinning Solo Sikoa clean in front of the world. On the opposite side, Solo Sikoa's grip on MFD is crumbling. His defeat, his visible fury after the match, and the whispers of doubt among his allies Tanga Loa and JC Mateo have weakened his claim as the heir to the Bloodline's legacy, and fans are already speculating about internal fractures and betrayals waiting to happen. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns, aligned with Brock Lesnar and building his own new Shield with allies like LA Knight and Kevin Owens, finds himself forced into the role of not just tribal chief but judge, executioner, and defender of his empire, because the formation of this new bloodline without his blessing is not just defiance, it is an outright rebellion, and if he doesn't crush it, his authority could collapse. The stage is being set for Clash in Paris, where rumors swirl of a six-man showdown between Reigns, Lesnar, and LA Knight against Jimmy, Jacob, and Zayn, a battle that could ignite into a long-term war leading to Survivor Series Wargames and even a WrestleMania 42 main event centered not around titles but around legacy, identity, and the very soul of the Anoa'i dynasty. The possibilities are endless. Zilla Fatu's rumored debut, alliances shifting, betrayals lurking, and the looming question of whether Roman can maintain his power as his family splinters apart. The stakes are massive, because if the new bloodline continues to rise, they don't just threaten Solo's MFD, they challenge the very authority of the tribal chief himself, and Roman knows that one wrong move, one defeat, one fracture could bring down everything he has built since declaring himself the head of the table. This is not just a wrestling feud, this is the rewriting of family, this is tradition colliding with rebellion. This is the legacy of the Anoa'i family being ripped apart in front of the entire world, and the WWE Universe knows that nothing will ever be the same again. So buckle up, wrestling fam, because the new bloodline has risen, Roman Reigns has responded, and the war for dominance has only just begun, and whether it ends in Paris, at Survivor Series, or on the grandest stage of them all at WrestleMania, one thing is certain. The Anoa'i dynasty will never be whole again.